What if humanity's greatest survival advantage wasn't muscle or weapons, but a completely different way of thinking? Thousands of years before autism ever had a name, certain minds may have saved entire tribes from extinction. Anthropologists and evolutionary scientists are now asking a question that sounds strange but deserves serious attention today. For most of human history, survival depended entirely on small hunter-gatherer tribes working closely together every single day. These weren't massive civilizations with specialized careers. They were tight-knit groups where every single person mattered deeply. Modern archaeology suggests prehistoric communities were far more cognitively diverse than scientists once assumed for generations. Instead of identical roles, successful tribes likely thrived because members had different strengths, personalities, and cognitive tendencies. Scientists call this concept neurodiversity, the idea that brain variation is natural rather than something to eliminate. Autism spectrum disorder is one striking example, involving real challenges alongside remarkable, measurable cognitive strengths in many people.
Intense focus, exceptional memory, and powerful pattern recognition aren't modern inventions. They're rooted deep in human biology.
Evolution rarely keeps traits around without a reason, since natural selection tends to erase anything harmful over time. Yet autism-related genetic variations remain surprisingly common across nearly every human population studied around the entire world. There isn't one single autism gene. Researchers have found hundreds of variants shaping how human brains actually develop. This pattern led scientists toward something called the evolutionary persistence hypothesis, a theory worth taking seriously today. Nobody claims ancient people were formally diagnosed, since such diagnoses simply didn't exist during the Ice Age. Instead, individuals with autistic-like cognitive patterns may have offered specific, valuable contributions inside their prehistoric communities.
Picture a hunter noticing nearly invisible tracks that everyone else in the entire group completely missed.
Or a toolmaker obsessively refining stone blades until they became dramatically sharper and far more effective. In an unpredictable world where one mistake meant starvation, specialized skills offered a critical survival advantage. This remains active research, not settled fact, yet it offers a genuinely compelling explanation worth exploring further. The strongest evidence doesn't come from internet theories. It comes from genetics, neuroscience, and careful archaeology. Genome sequencing has completely transformed how scientists understand the origins and development of autism today. Many of these genetic variations are ancient, surviving thousands of generations despite evolution's tendency toward elimination.
This led biologists toward balanced selection, meaning a trait can persist if its benefits outweigh its costs.
A characteristic causing challenges in one environment might become incredibly valuable within a completely different setting. During the Ice Age, intense focus and superior pattern recognition may have benefited an entire group. Brain imaging consistently shows autistic brains process information differently, not incorrectly, compared to neurotypical brains. Many autistic individuals demonstrate enhanced local processing, naturally focusing on fine details others typically overlook completely. Imagine that same ability 30,000 years ago, spotting subtle disturbances hidden within ordinary, undisturbed soil.
A gatherer might instantly recognize tiny differences between edible plants and dangerously poisonous, similar-looking ones. A toolmaker could detect microscopic flaws inside a stone blade before it shattered mid-hunt entirely.
Experimental psychology repeatedly shows autistic participants outperforming neurotypical groups in very specific visual search and pattern tasks. These cognitive strengths are measurable and consistent, rooted firmly in the brain's actual architecture itself. Archaeology can't identify whether a prehistoric person was autistic, but it reveals something equally important. Technological progress happened gradually, through meticulous refinement rather than sudden, dramatic breakthroughs across many generations. Stone tools became sharper and more specialized, requiring extraordinary patience and relentless attention to detail. Anthropologists propose early societies naturally divided responsibilities according to each individual member's unique cognitive strengths and abilities.
This concept is called complementary specialization,
where communities grow stronger through genuinely different member contributions.
Rather than weaknesses, cognitive differences may have increased a tribe's overall resilience and survival chances.
So why isn't this theory universally accepted by every single researcher working in this exact field?
Modern science demands we separate solid evidence from tempting speculation before accepting any bold hypothesis. There's no direct archaeological proof that any specific prehistoric individual was actually clinically autistic in any sense.
Autism is a modern clinical diagnosis based on behavior, communication, and developmental history that fossils simply cannot reveal. None of this can ever truly be reconstructed from ancient bones, fossils, or preserved skeletal remains.
That's why scientists call it a plausible hypothesis, not an established, universally accepted historical fact.
Still, multiple independent fields keep steadily contributing genuine pieces toward this much larger, ongoing evolutionary puzzle.
These findings don't prove autistic people were prehistoric inventors, but they do support some genuinely intriguing possibilities. Evolution doesn't reward perfection. It rewards populations capable of surviving within constantly changing, deeply unpredictable. From that perspective, cognitive diversity may have been just as genuinely valuable as raw physical diversity.
This research fundamentally challenges society's traditional, narrow understanding of what real intelligence actually means for every single person. For decades, conversations about autism focused almost entirely on deficits and the constant daily struggles families quietly faced. Modern research shifts toward a genuinely more balanced perspective on autism, ability, and human potential. Scientists increasingly recognize autism as neurological variation, containing both real challenges and equally real, measurable strengths. This framework never denies real difficulties like communication barriers, sensory overload, or the persistent anxiety many families experience. Human brains were never designed to be identical, just as ecosystems thrive through natural biodiversity. Autistic individuals today have made remarkable contributions across science, engineering, mathematics, music, design, and countless other creative fields. History shouldn't be rewritten claiming every inventor was autistic, yet different thinking clearly drives innovation. The real question isn't whether autistic minds are better, but how different minds complement each other.
Human civilization wasn't built by identical minds. It was built through genuine cooperation and difference.
Successful hunter-gatherer societies always depended on cooperation, specialization, and constant, flexible adaptability, working together every single day.
No single person possessed every skill needed to keep an entire ancient tribe safely alive.
Some excelled at hunting, others at gathering, navigation, toolmaking, storytelling, medicine, or steady, trusted community leadership. Homo sapiens didn't succeed through physical strength alone, but through combining wildly diverse talents into shared, collective intelligence. That's precisely why this hypothesis continues attracting serious, genuine interest from evolutionary scientists working across the entire world. Populations containing wider cognitive ranges may solve complex survival challenges far more effectively than any identical, uniform group. Even if future research modifies this hypothesis, one conclusion remains already extremely well supported by real evidence. Variation in the human brain was never an accident. It's a fundamental feature of our species. So when someone asks if autistic traits helped ancient tribes survive, here's the honest answer. We don't know for certain, but the evidence deserves far more serious attention than dismissal. Maybe our greatest evolutionary strength was never one perfect mind, but our endlessly beautiful human differences all along.